Okay, so this is the fourth and the final video in my patching tutorials, and this is going to be about efficiency. So you can apply this at whatever level you're patching at, whatever style you're doing, but efficiency is the most important thing in patching. Speed actually, once you get to a certain speed, that's it. That's as fast as you're gonna go. And I will admit I'm not as fast as some of the people. Some of the patches at my level I'm not as fast at as I'm definitely not the slowest, and I'm definitely not the most efficient. Far from it, for speed and efficiency. But once you've got to your peak of speed, efficiency is what is going to bring you to the next level, to get you to that incredible, to get you to that ultimate, to get you to that number one. And basically, there's many different ways you can make yourself more efficient with patching. And when I'm talking about efficiency, what I mean is using the way you move the pieces to give yourself speed instead of actually moving your mouse faster. So the first thing we'll talk about is cursor control. Now you can't actually see my cursor, but you can see the highlight moving around. If you look in the middle of my board, you can see my highlight there where I've got my pieces. And cursor control, this is my idea of what it is the way you move your cursor around the board. You want to have your cursor going with your patch at all times in general. Sometimes you'll need to drag a piece from the other side of the board, but you want to avoid that. If you're patching like this and dragging pieces all around the board like this, and a lot of people do this when they're starting, they'll just drag pieces from the other side, even though they've got. So I'll probably be able to give you a very good example here, actually. So we've got this piece right here. We could just drag that there, but a lot of people will go over here and drag this one, and that's just all cursor control. We're about to boot this board, that's fine. So you're aiming, and this is something you can think about at first. It's a very good thing to think about. And in general, you're going to try to get to the point where you're not thinking about anything anymore. But while you're practicing and learning, you're going to have to think about it. So think about your cursor control. Think about, where am I picking these pieces from? If I need a piece to turn up here, instead of going over here and dragging it over, just turn this. That's your cursor control. So I just did a stupid thing there. I dragged that there. I could have just dragged this one. And that's what cursor control is. It's just using the least space for your cursor, not for your cursor. It's using the least distance to get to to expand your patch. So here you might go for a piece over here, or you can just drag that over there, drag that down there. You know, just take the pieces close to you. Use what's close to you. And rotating. That's one of the things that I found very hard to get my head around. Is a lot of the time, instead of dragging a piece down here, you can just rotate that piece. You know, rotate while you're moving pieces. That's very important. And it's something you have to get used to. Just making sure that you're doing everything as efficiently as you can. Another one is this is something I don't do because it actually makes me slower because I struggle with it. So let's just connect this off. Oh, I missed it. Is using the enter key to finish your board. A lot of the best patchers, they'll press enter when they're finished. So we just quickly finish this. He says quickly. He means in 10 years. So we finish this. Usually I'll just, like, if you know my mouse was up here, up in the right hand corner, I'll drag it all the way down to the left hand corner and click it. More efficient thing to do is just have your hand above enter until you finish the board. And you just press enter. You don't need to move your mouse at all. There's no time waiting. You do it as soon as you think it, instead of thinking it, moving your mouse and doing it. I don't do that because I struggle with that. It makes me slower. I screw up pressing the enter key a lot. It's not something I've ever been able to get to grips with as much as I've tried. And that leads me into my next thing. Use your own style. If there's something that's better than what you're doing, but you struggle with it, and it's something that the big thing I'm gonna say here is it's something you've practiced. If you haven't practiced it and you struggle with it, well, practice it because it's a better way to do things. But if you've practiced it and you struggle with it, don't do it. It's not worth it. Use your own style. If you're comfortable with the way you're playing, then you're gonna be faster. To a point, of course, you know, you don't want to be so comfortable that you're just tired off the knots and doing nothing else. Don't look at the timer. I cannot stress this enough. We always talk about patches, always talk about how fast you do it, what time you're doing it in. Are you doing it in 2? Are you doing it in 3? As I've explained before, the timings on the pieces of the timer. Don't look at it while you're playing. While you're doing your puzzle, do not look at the timer because that's time you're wasting when you should be looking at your pieces and finishing your board. Then when you finish, now you look at the timer. You see where you are, you assess how much you need to improve. It's very important to look at the timer at the end, in fact. It's one of the most important things you can do, is look at the timer at the end. Because when you look at the timer at the end, you can gauge what you're doing. You can get an average of your performance if you look at it every time. And you can know if you need to improve or not. Because knowing if you need to improve and knowing what level you are at is very useful. Let me just is very useful because you can know, am I at competition level? Am I at incredible level? And you can see, because obviously the scores are going to change. They change over time. What you need to do to get incredible. It has actually stayed fairly static for the last few years. But this video might be outdated, and you can use that to gauge, am I getting incredibles at this time? Am I not? You know, do I need to improve? It's very useful to look at the end, but not while you're playing the puzzle. And cut down your thinking time. That is the most important thing. The less you're thinking, the better you're doing. You want to just do all these things automatically. And this isn't something I can tell you how to do. This is something you just do over time as you practice the puzzle. And that's about it. That is everything that I can think that I know about patching. That's helped me to get to number 1 and win competitions. Actually, I'm not sure if I've won any, but I've placed well in a lot. And I'm sure there's tips that people who are better than me could give you that would help as well. But these tips can definitely get you to ultimate, and they can definitely get you to number 1. And if you're faster than me, they can win you tournaments. So that's it.